Ladies and gents, boys and girls, welcome in. It is Monday, March the 16th, 2026. I'm Chris Phillips. He is Anthony Ranaudo. This is Glue Guys, and we are looking back on the weekend that was, as conference weekend number one is officially in the books. We'll also take a look at the upcoming midweek slate. And of course, we'll dive into your questions, your comments, and most importantly, your reactions to everything that took place over the weekend, guys. Before we get rocking and rolling, make sure as always you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts, all across your favorite social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. And as always, we are powered by our friends over at Underdog. Download the Underdog app today. Use promo code SECU to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. Once again, that's promo code SECU to get $75 in bonus entries when you download the Underdog app. This is Glue Guys, SEC Unfiltered's bi-weekly SEC baseball show. I'm Chris Phillips. He is one Mr. Anthony Ranaudo, 2009 national champion with the LSU Tigers, former major leaguer, and someone who knows the game as well as anyone. Anthony, appreciate you taking the time. Really excited to dive into just what happened over the weekend. Obviously, you and I were together on Friday Night Spikes. A lot went down in the two following days on Saturday and Sunday. We had sweeps. We had series claimed. I think we learned some things about some of these ball clubs. Really excited to break it all down with you.
Yeah, man, it was a great weekend. It was fun. It was action-packed, and definitely we got some answers. We got some information, and the best part is, like, we got to see guys perform under the lights now, and that's and I feel like, I don't want to say the playing field was even, but at least we have like a foundation to start judging, and I shouldn't say judging, but start analyzing a little bit more accurately, right? So that's the fun part for me. And I think the other fun part is, I just saw in the comments, we had somebody create a username, Ranaudo Hates Volchko. There's a username that says Ranaudo. It's at Ranaudo Hates Volchko.
There you go.
Pretty hilarious.
And it's you in a clown suit.
Is it? Wow.
I think that's also that. Better. I think the image is you in a clown suit.
It is 100%. That's actually really intricate. I love
that's that. Well done. Hey, listen, the powers
like
of
that is a beyond tip of the cap. That's really well done.
The powers of AI have hit us. Again, those listening via podcast. Yeah, there's somebody in the YouTube chat at Ranaudo Hates Volchko with a image of our guy Anthony Ranaudo in a clown fit. The comment, by the way, doesn't really fit the username and the picture. It just simply says, Anthony, I actually agree with you. Coons is electric, and Volchko was just okay, even though Volchko had more punch. He's pitched longer and gave up the same amount of runs. Okay, I think he's being sarcastic. I think there's sarcasm. Okay, you had me in the first half. I'm not going to lie.
I will say all of it was really well done. Like, I'm like, that drop in there was well done.
Love that. Out of nowhere. I love that. To get conference play going just out of nowhere.
And really I have been very, very, very hard on Joey Volchko too. So like I do totally understand it. I do understand it.
On that note, let's get into a few of the questions and comments, Anthony, before we really get rolling here. Our guy, Christian, with the first comment, kicks it off, says, what's up, boys? He also follows it up. My Aggie bullpen was a rage bait exercise all weekend, outscored Oklahoma, and still lost the weekend. Certainly, we will get into that one. Riley, Mississippi State fan, says State's bullpen and our catchers have a lot of work to do before Vandy comes to Starkville. Yes, they do. Baton Rouge Raven says the LSU bullpen is trash. It seems like it's the theme of the week. That is where we learn a lot, though. The bullpens for these teams. Heck, Jay Johnson said it. I think it was either before the season or like first week of the season. Really, it's the depth of your bullpen. It's going to determine how good you are and how far you go. Baton Rouge Raven says, do we have to look back? Let's just not talk about the weekend. Obviously, it was a rough weekend for the Tigers in Nashville. Babes and Waves says, LFG, what's going on? Husker 77. Appreciate you tuning in. Todd to Texas says, can't concentrate. It is snowing in Birmingham. I did see that this morning. It's snowing in Alabama, Anthony.
That's wild.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, it's like 40 here today in Nashville. It's weird. It was 77 here yesterday, and now it's 40 degrees. So
yeah, we've had that weird weather too.
This is like a 2-day thing, and then I think it's going to be gone. And by the weekend, or heck, by middle of the week, we're going to get back to like low 70s or spring weather, if you will. But yeah. Christian says, so everyone's pitching sucks. Glad to hear. Yeah, it was funny. We were talking about this on Friday. A lot of Anthony's top arms and a lot of the aces of the SEC certainly ran into some issues on Friday and really throughout the weekend. We'll get into that more, obviously, as we go. A few more, and then we'll get into it. John Bro says, go Tigers, go Anthony. Told you guys Vandy would take 2 or 3 from LSU. Tough to win on the road in the SEC. Yeah, it is. It is. It's very difficult. It is. We saw that over the weekend. Dalton says, D1 baseball rankings makes no sense. LSU is 1 pitch away from winning the series. Even though they struggled, they drop out of the top 25. Wake Forest gets absolutely destroyed and stays in the top 25. We will talk about the top 25 rankings a little bit later in the show. Interestingly enough, again, spoiler, LSU does fall out. It's weird to look at a college baseball top 25 and not see LSU.
First time since 2022, they said.
Well, apparently I got corrected on the timeline. It's 2024. Somebody on Instagram did say 22. Gotcha. Somebody on Twitter said 24. Either way, it's not a.
It's been a while.
It's not a common occurrence to see
the year they won the. Oh no, I guess 24 was the year in between they won the championship.
Yeah, that was the following year. Yeah, that was when they started. I think like 3-12 in conference play.
Yeah.
Randy says, "Old boy on the right is sleeved out. Relax on the clown suit." Yeah. Again, the creativity is something else. Jason says, Boomer Sooner. Great to have Sooner representation in here after a big weekend. Our guy Blake also says, Boomer Sooner, good series win, but go into the box is always tough. Yeah, that is upcoming for Oklahoma. It's going to be a fun one. All right, we're going to continue, guys. I promise to take your questions, your comments, everything else. We want to get into the baseball really quickly. Before we get going, one quick housekeeping item. I know it is not a baseball note, Anthony, but I do want to let the masses know March Madness is officially here. We are really excited for it here at SEC Unfiltered. We're doing some big things for it. Number one, this hasn't been announced yet. We're collabing with our friends over at Outlaw Beer to do a March Madness bracket challenge. Just your standard traditional bracket challenge. Fill out a bracket. Whoever wins gets an Outlaw cooler. This thing is badass, too. I'll be posting a picture of it later today. Also going to throw in some SEC Unfiltered swag, but Outlaw is giving us a cooler to give away to the masses. Going to be really cool. Also, this weekend, if you are in Nashville, around Nashville, or if you just want to come to Nashville, the Slider House in Nashville in Midtown will be our March Madness HQ. We're partnering up with them, with Outlaw Beer. We're essentially doing an all-day happy hour. We're going to have $3 16-ounce Outlaws, $12 buckets. I think like 30% off of food for like an hour or two, certain span, dollars off domestics, wine, whatever. You know the whole drill. Big time happy hour stuff. But this is going to serve as our hub to watch all of the March Madness action Thursday through Sunday. Your boy is going to be glued to the TVs at the Slider House. We've also got what I'm calling, Anthony, a big-ass bracket. It's
the Slider House sounds like somewhere I want to be. I don't know.
It is like a 6-foot-tall bracket that's got all the teams, and we're going to be filling that out as we go. It's going to make for some really fun content and just going to be a really cool visual in the bar. So, yeah, the Slider House Nashville. If you are in the local area, if you're around, would love to have you guys out there. And, of course, guys, if we're going to be at the Slider House all weekend, we're going to be watching the baseball there too. I'm not going to go a weekend and not watch the baseball, of course. So we'll have plenty of the game. We'll have all the games up. I'll have probably my laptop with the baseball stuff going on. So come on out. Going to be a great time. Really appreciate you all for your love, your support, for making stuff like this possible. So looking forward to it. It's going to be a blast. All right. That being said, Anthony, we are here to talk baseball. So let's dive into the baseball. Conference play weekend number 1 officially in the books. Anthony, let's start with what went down in Fayetteville, Arkansas, because in my opinion, this was the series of the weekend. All eyes were on Vaughn Walker. By the way, I want to highlight this as well, Anthony. And I think this really accentuates and this really emphasizes how difficult picking this league is. You and I both, after the opening weekend in conference play, finished with a 4-4 record. So we are sitting right at 500. Neither one of us exuded much, or at least elite ball knowledge this weekend, because, again, it was a very wacky weekend We had a lot of disagreements. Damn me for just not going with Auburn. I could have had a winning weekend, but either way, that's neither here nor there.
We were
but,
2 pitches away from being 6-4 and having
and now you got maybe you are a clown. Maybe you are a clown.
Today is the clown day.
He's got the balloons on the.
I'm just gonna come with a red balloon on my chair on Thursday. It'll be great. Wow, that's great.
No, we were there. There were, to your point, there were a lot of series that
very close.
We were one ball robbed the fence away from getting a series right.
Tennessee,
we were
one. LSU closes out that win. Instead of the walk off, we get that series too, right? So
we were close. It was a wacky weekend. This was a very drama-filled weekend, no doubt. And again, the series in Fayetteville did not take a back seat to any, as Arkansas on their home field takes down Mississippi State. They win 2 of 3. It's the first SEC series loss for Ryan O'Connor. Here's a stat that really sticks out to you, Anthony. This is the 9th consecutive SEC opening weekend series win for Arkansas. It's the 9th straight series win against Mississippi State at Baum Walker.
I really wish I would have known that. I wish I would have known those stats.
That would have been good information, I think, for us to know. I don't know how I didn't look that up or didn't think about that last week. And maybe I withheld that from you, and that's why I went Arkansas. But, Arkansas has had a lot of success, obviously, against Hail State in Fayetteville. And again, Fayetteville, a very, very tough place to win. TJ Pompey goes off for the Arkansas Razorbacks. Again, this one was a thrilling series. They obviously played a doubleheader on Saturday. They split that, and Arkansas got that big Game 1 win. Via the walk-off, by the way. Again, we had walk-offs everywhere. We had game-saving plays. This one fit right in with all the rest. Anthony, thoughts on the weekend? Thoughts on what I think is a big series win for Arkansas to get it going?
I think you said it exactly. It's a huge series win. And when we talk about them having 17, 18 wins in the SEC, these are the series that really, really matter at home, right? Against a really good team, Mississippi State. I still think the eye test, when you watch Mississippi State, they are still a top 10. Just because they lost 2 out of 3 games against another top 10 team does not mean that they are, there's any reason for them to fall out of that top 10. I think they're as solid as a team that you could see, 20 games into the season. But again, tip of the cap to Arkansas for winning that series 2 out of 3. I think their starting rotation looks really, really solid. And they obviously have enough in the bats to be able to produce the runs when those guys are throwing the ball well. So, big win for them. And again, it proves that home field advantage really matters, because I think that really does play a strong thing for Arkansas as well.
10,664 fans, Anthony. That was the largest SEC home opener attendance in Baum Walker Stadium history. So the Hogs were out. The Hogs were rampant. Again, TJ Pompey, 400-foot walk-off home run in Game 1 to right center. Just the second home run of the season for him. And I believe his first ever in SEC play. I'm pretty sure that was his first ever in SEC play. I will say this. I'm not anymore, I'm not down on Mississippi State at all. I think this was just a really tough competitive series. And like you mentioned, this was the reason I picked Arkansas. When you get a series like this at Baum Walker, the history and the success they've had in Fayetteville, and it's just really, really difficult to go in there and beat a team like that. So obviously Mississippi State has got some things to clean up. There's no doubt about that. We reacted to the comments earlier and what people had to say. I don't think this is like a sell your stock moment on Mississippi State at all. It's just, you kind of knew Arkansas was going to flip a switch going into conference play. They had looked sluggish. They had looked lackluster. I really felt confident you were going to see a different Arkansas team, and sure enough, that's exactly what happened. So they've got a number of guys, of course. I thought Ryder Helfrich had a really good weekend, especially defensively. One of their big arms of the weekend, Steele Evans, came in and shut the door for them. Steele Eves, not Evans. Steele Eves came in and shut the door for them late in game number 3 to clinch the series. He's 3-0 this season with a 0 ERA, 12 Ks and 14 innings.
Is that good?
One of those, not bad, not too shabby. So one of those pieces to them in the back end of the bullpen. Gabe Gackle was really solid in game number 1. Obviously, sets the tone for Arkansas. Again, just a really tough place to go in and win. So Brian O'Connor is going to get a lot of SEC series wins under his belt. But Arkansas gets the best of Mississippi State in this one. Anthony, let's go to the series that took place in Norman, Oklahoma. Boy, you talk about dramatics and emotions and tempers flaring. This one certainly. Oklahoma, I think, Anthony, just continues to make statements. They continue to make statements and wake people up that are maybe still sleeping on them for whatever reason. OU takes 2 of 3. You had the tempers flare in game 1 over the Jackson Willits bat flip where he does his thing, and Michael Early's motherfucking Skip Johnson, and Skip Johnson's motherfucking him right back. And it was just a big mess. Either way, Oklahoma finds a way to win this series. Cam Johnson did struggle out of the gate for Oklahoma. Of course, we talked about this, Anthony, on Friday. Again, this was kind of a theme. There were a lot of Friday night guys that ran into some trouble, and I don't want to say got humbled, but just you saw the uptick in competition take a toll on some guys. And it is what it is. And a lot of guys are going to bounce back, get better. But this, again, we talked about this is really when the men get separated from the boys. And you're going to find out who you really are. Like, you've got to be to a different level of sharp than you have been in non-conference play. So, but Oklahoma obviously able to overcome it. The bullpen struggled a bit in the final game, but Oklahoma outlasts the Aggies in a thriller on Sunday, 12-11 to win the series. Anthony, just talk about what you saw from the Sooners and what you saw from this series as OU takes 2 of 3 over Texas A&M. This was your pick, by the way. You had Oklahoma. You felt really confident in the Sooners going in the weekend.
Yeah, I like the Sooners. I really do. I think they showed enough offense. They're scrappy. They steal bases. They get on base, right? So I like that team against Texas A&M starting pitching. That was a little unproven, and I think we saw that. I feel a little bad for Cord Rager and Aiden Sims on Sunday because the wind was blowing out like crazy. So I think that does really alter your stuff, and I hold less against them in those situations. But the biggest thing that stood out for me is to the point, right? Like when you get into SEC play, you saw it with Cam Johnson. Like Texas A&M waited him out. He wasn't throwing strikes, and those little things that against non-conference opponents, maybe you get some undisciplined swings against power stuff like Cam Johnson, right? But against SEC and a team like Texas A&M, they're just going to wait him out, and they're going to make him throw pitches. And when he falls behind 3-1, it's not Gonzaga and the West Coast Conference guys anymore popping balls out or rolling over balls or mishitting balls, right? It's SEC boys banging balls in the gap against him. And when you got guys on base, because you're issuing them free passes, those kinds of things come back and bite you a little. And then the only other thing that stood out for me is Texas A&M's a really good team. Like that's a really, really good team. And I think just the way we said it in the beginning part of the year, I think their starting pitching is going to be the biggest question mark. How well can Shane Sadeo on Friday night rise to the occasion and match the other starter? And then can Weston Moss keep him in games on Saturday and Aiden Sims on Sunday, right? That's going to be the biggest thing. So those were my biggest takes. And I'm looking for Cam Johnson, obviously, to bounce back as the Friday guy for them next week. By throwing a lot of strikes, and I'll be hopefully, if he still has that Friday night spot, I'll be watching him at the box in Baton Rouge.
I would agree with you. I do think Texas A&M still a good team. Here's the thing: you go on the road and lose 2 of 3. I'm not panicking. Now it depends on where you go and who you lose to. Of course, context matters, but we're going to talk about this, Anthony, when we get to LSU, so we might as well go ahead and bring it up now. There's a reason the old adage exists that is win your series at home and don't get swept on the road. Nobody wants to lose 2 of 3, but there is something to be said about salvaging that one game and not getting swept. It is the sweeps that throw your season one way or the other, right? Yep. When you sweep for the positive, when you get swept for the negative. So I don't think anybody should be necessarily hitting a panic button if you lose 2 of 3, especially on the road to a top 10 team. I mean, Oklahoma, let's give them their roses. They are legitimate. They are every bit worthy of that top 10 ranking. It's crazy to think how much we were, and I'm talking to myself really here, how much we were sleeping on Oklahoma coming in the season. I feel very silly.
Me too.
I feel very silly.
Very silly.
I mean, to be fair, they had questions, but boy, they've answered every single one of them, it seems like, at every single turn.
The
Go
biggest
ahead.
thing to me, because I feel like the question mark for Oklahoma was their offense a little bit, right? And then
Yeah.
for them to be able to get punched in the mouth with both their starters, obviously Cam getting knocked out in the third inning. LJ pitched really good for the first five, but then he got knocked out in the fifth inning and gave up some runs, and their team just kept coming back, right? They just kept scoring runs. So again, I just that's what good teams do. They don't really ever panic when they're down. They find ways to win games at the end of games, right? And so I don't know. I'm just on this Oklahoma team. I really am.
Okay, Anthony, a couple things that stood out from this weekend, from this series, that didn't necessarily have to do with everything happening on the field. Some of it on field. I definitely want to get your take. The Jackson Willits bat flip, I guess, towards the Aggie dugout. Not guess. It was towards the Aggie dugout. He gets suspended for a game
That's what
for
I hate the most.
unsportsmanlike conduct. Thoughts on the apparently here's the problem with it. They're trying to make this a point of emphasis, but you had other guys bat flip this weekend.
That's what
that
I
got
mean.
nothing. That got nothing.
I'm fine with sending a message if you want to eject. Actually, I didn't love that they ejected him. I really don't. I think there should be a warning on that first, like a very serious, same way, like, hey, both sides are warned. If somebody hits somebody, then we eject you. But like, to me, it's what makes college baseball. Like, that's fun. Like, and I don't think it was malicious. When you watch that video, I didn't feel any intent that he was trying to throw a bat and hurt anybody in a dugout, which would warrant a ejection and a suspension the next day. So that to me is you take out one of their best players in a premium position in a Friday night game, and then he's suspended for Saturday. Are you freaking kidding me? I just think that's horseshit. Like, I think that is horseshit.
Yeah, let the kids play, man. Let them
Yeah.
play. It's an emotional game. It's an emotional moment, especially.
Yep.
Then we had the fallout with Michael Early tossing
Yeah.
the bat to Oklahoma's backstop. I will say this, and just take this statement for what it is. I'm not sitting here saying Texas A&M is about to go down the tube and have a terrible year. It felt very 2025 Michael Early to me, the way he was jawing at a guy. Like it just, you never want to be on the end where it's like you are the greenhorn, which you still are. You're not a veteran coach, and you're jawing at a guy like Skip Johnson, who I feel like is so well respected and is such a vet of this game. Does it really mean anything in the grand scheme of things in the long run? Maybe not, but it's like I did not love the look for Michael Early. And again, I know the emotions get going and the tempers flare, and it's, everybody's out there competing and fighting their asses off, but I didn't love the look because of who he was going back and forth with, if I'm being totally honest.
I agree. And honestly, like, as a coach, I just think you have a responsibility to act a certain way. If you didn't like the bat toss, I think you address it with the coach in a different way, in my opinion, right? And somebody in the chat just said, I don't know, if there's nothing wrong with spiking the bat, then nothing wrong with tossing it back. And that's what I have an issue with, is like, that's a player who hit a home run in a big situation and he's celebrating with his team. That's now a coach being personally offended and letting his emotions come out now in a way that I thought was childish. And honestly, like, I was thinking about making it a kangaroo court, because I just think it's selfish. Like, you're making it about you and your team versus just being like, if you had something to say about it, I think there's a way that you could do it that is more respectful and more of an autonomous way that, I don't know. I just didn't think it reflected good leadership, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with you 110%. Last thing on this series, Anthony, the clip that came out from the dugout, I think you know which one I'm talking about. The sus clip with Blake Benderup and someone else. Did you ever partake in any interesting dugout shenanigans? It's okay, no judgment here. I mean, listen, I get
Chris,
it, man. Like,
Chris, there's some things that baseball culture.
There were a lot of clips this weekend, by the way. A lot of them.
The game has changed in that sense too, Chris. We were not allowed to do that stuff when we were playing. Like, you get punched in the mouth maybe for something like that. I don't know. You get pushed against a wall. I don't know. The game has changed. We might do like a little cup check and like keep you on your toes. Ha ha ha. Like, it would be something like that. But I mean, old boy stood up and he grabbed his ass too. Like, man, that was really rough. You hurt me. Like, come on, bro. What are we doing? This is like, I mean, the celebration, like this generation's different, man. It's a different world.
It is, and it's funny though. Those two players are gonna laugh it off, but I just couldn't help but think, like, if that was me, bro, and that's on video, and like the digital footprint never fades
Ever.
bro, I'd be horrified. Like,
Yeah.
I'd be so embarrassed if that was me.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm a boomer though. I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I like the
maybe
game
we're
has changed.
boomers.
I'm like, we're boomers, dude, because I'm like, I'd be ashamed. I'd be like, bro, what did you just do? How did you let that happen? Like, why would you do that? I would be
I mean, listen, I get weird shit goes on in the clubhouse, but that was
also, I love that the Texas A&M or the Texas, what is it? Texas A&M fans responded with like a picture of like a Texas guy kissing his girlfriend or something against the fence, and they were saying
it was kissing another dude, bro.
It was a dude? I thought it was his girlfriend on the softball team.
It was like the dudes were in the bullpen and they were like, dude. And then you had the James Madison baseball team that was out in the outfield, like dry humping each other.
Yeah.
It was a weird weekend.
Dude, the Wake Forest guys a couple of years ago, their celebration in the locker room, I'm like,
listen, man. I love baseball and I love baseball culture, but sometimes baseball culture takes it too far. Yeah, sometimes this generation baseball culture too far, too much. I can't get down with that shit. I cannot do it. Sorry,
too much.
All right, let's get off of this one, Anthony. We got a lot more to get into. Let's go to the series that took place in Athens, Georgia. How dare we continue to doubt the Georgia Bulldogs? Because Georgia, after losing on Friday, you and I, let's call it for what it is. I think we felt pretty smart after Friday. Like, yep, there you go. There's Tennessee coming alive. Credit to this Georgia team taking 2 or 3. All I wanted to see was you beat somebody with a pulse. Tip of the cap, you've now done it. 2 of 3, they take the series. An insane play, Anthony, to end this series. You got the Tennessee guy that thinks he's hit the go-ahead home run. You talk about a straight-up bat spike. I mean, and then I look back and
he did a pound to the chest to the dugout.
Spikes the bat. He pounds the chest. I see in the on deck circle his teammates pounding the chest like, hell yeah, you just hit the go ahead. Old boy gets robbed at the wall, and Georgia hangs on to clinch the series. Anthony, this one delivered. This was an incredible series. Thoughts on Georgia, man? I think we need to, very deservedly so, spend some time and give Georgia some love here.
Georgia looks really good. Their bats are about legit as I put them up there with UCLA bats. Like, I really do. Like, they're as offensively sound as I've seen, and good swings too. It's about as legit as an offense that I've seen this year in college baseball for me so far. So I do tip the cap there. And I thought they pitched it really well this weekend. And again, to the Ranaudo hates Volchko. I actually love Volchko a lot. Like, that was actually my biggest thing in the beginning part of the year. I think I'm just hard on him because I had high expectations, right? You always hear people talk about, I think the LSU fans are going through that. I don't think they're as bad as they are. I think the high expectations are just like astronomical, right? So there's a lot of disappointment. So when I'm criticizing Joey, it's more from a standpoint of like, I was hoping he would be a top 15 pick this year. And I'm not saying he's not going to be, and he's been a really, really strong arm, and he proved it again this weekend, kept him in the game, right? Even though they lost that Friday game, he pitched 6 innings and they didn't have to go to the bullpen and go deep, right? So that's what a Friday night starter does. He's done his job all year. And then that put them in a position to win Saturday and Sunday on the mound, right? And I like how Wes Johnson used Caden Aoki, because he had used him as a starter a few times, but he let him go in length to get the save in that game and in a crucial win for them. So Georgia is about as legit as they come right now for me. I would like to see maybe a second starter be truly developed, but I thought that Vigu guy, or Vig, whatever, however you say his name, he looked really good, honestly, the kid from Michigan. So I'm like, with Volchko and Vigu or whatever, like that's a solid 1-2 punch. I was impressed with the dogs.
Yeah, you mentioned Aoki. He was really impressive, Anthony. 4 innings pitched, 3 hits, no runs, a walk, 6 strikeouts. Again, that comes in relief of game number 2, a game in which they win by a final score of 4-2. So he was clutching that ball game. And then obviously it was a marathon game in game number 3. Georgia used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different arms to get the job.
Tip of the cap, they were down early. It was like 6-1 or something. And then I was doing some lessons and I went back and it was like 8-6. And I was like, holy shit, what happened?
Yeah, it was 5-0 Tennessee after 3. Georgia scored 2 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th. So they made it 5-3. Then it was 6-3 Tennessee. Then Georgia put up a 5 spot in the bottom of the 7th to take the lead. Tennessee scored 1 in the top of the 9th. And again, looked like they were going to score 2 more until that ball was robbed at the fence. Here's the reality of it, Anthony. And here's the thing. Like, I think you and I both would have probably agreed with this statement before the season. If Georgia pitches consistently, they don't have to be elite. If they pitch at a slightly above average clip, they're one of the most scary teams in college baseball because they're going to swing it. Like, you feel really confident. The floor of the offense is so high, and they've got so many guys in that lineup that can beat you. If they are able to pitch it with somewhat of some consistency, this is a team that absolutely can get to Omaha for the first time since 2008. And it's a reason why you and I both went back and forth and debated and damn near put them in our Omaha 8. The only reason we left them out was just, hey, I want to see it play out. But we knew at some point, and we'll see, we got 9 more of these to go. The last thing to click for Wes Johnson's Georgia club was the pitching staff. And this dude's a pitching guru. Like, at some point, the pitching has to click. Maybe as we go throughout SEC play, it'll prove that this is the season. But, I think so far so good. Again, like, the offenses are so good in 2026. Nobody's asking you to go out there and have a 1 ERA or do anything crazy.
Maybe me for
your pitching staff to give you a chance. Just give you a chance.
And to your point, that's what the starters. Yeah, maybe me with Volchko is expecting a 1 ERA, but that's about it. But I think if they can find 2 starters to keep them in the game and then develop a few key bullpen pieces, that's one thing I remember last year is that I liked their team a lot, but I just didn't feel very confident that they had arms coming out of the pen to be able to stop the bleeding if they were giving up runs, right? So I think that's one of the things too that'll be a key development. But to your point, Wes Johnson's a pitching dude, right? Major league pitching coach. He was the pitching guy before he went to the major leagues. Like, always been that dude. He's gonna figure it out. And they have 20-something transfers that, like, they have a bunch of good veteran arms to pick from. Some of those guys are going to settle into roles, and that's going to be the biggest thing. But I think that's the difference between 2021 wins and 15, 16, 17 wins in the SEC.
Anthony, thoughts on Tennessee? I thought the bullpen obviously let them down, especially game 3. Krenzel gives up 5 earned runs and just 2/3 innings pitched, coming in relief of Evan Blanco. I mean, again, lose 2 or 3 on the road to a top 10 team. Really no shame in it. You saw Tennessee fans react in the worst kind of way after that series. They were not pleased with old boy Josh Elander. So
I know they're ruthless. I feel for him there, but
yeah,
I thought they looked good. They're going to pitch it well this year. To your point, the bullpen I thought was kind of a strength coming into the game, into the series, and it let them down a little, right? So, but I thought the good thing was their young bats held their own. They did really well, I thought. So I don't know. I like Tennessee's team. I really do. I think they're better than what I thought they might be this year. So I was pleasantly surprised. Again, 1 swing of the bat and 3 outs in the bottom of the 9th away from winning a series on the road against a top 10 Georgia team, for a very young team.
And again, that catch at the wall, crazy, absolutely insane moment. I heard the Georgia radio call. They said that that was the biggest catch in Georgia baseball history. I was like, okay, maybe we're a little prisoners of the moment, but I get what you're saying. It was a big catch, no doubt.
Very cool.
Incredible play. All right, Anthony, let's go to the series that took place in Austin, Texas. It looked like for a moment that we were going to have a big upset this weekend. And Texas, Luke Harrison and Dylan Volantis said we will have no part of that because they came out Saturday, Sunday, and absolutely shoved after that wacky Friday night game when Texas loses that one in extra innings. Again, I think you give Ole Miss a lot of credit for the grit and resiliency they showed, especially in that Friday night game. And obviously they hand Texas their first loss of the season. But, Anthony, this is why we play a 3-game set to find out who the best teams are. And I think Texas proved themselves as they're still the team that we thought they were. Again, Luke Harrison was shut down on Saturday. And then Dylan Volantis, 11 strikeouts on Sunday. And you and I talked about when you have a guy, it's like having an ace in the hole, man. Like when you have a guy like that on Sunday, it is just such a trump card. And you're going to make it so difficult for everybody you play because most teams – they're just not going to be able to trot a guy out there on a Sunday that's going to be able to go toe-to-toe with him. And, oh, by the way, you got this Texas lineup that went absolutely crazy. It was a number of different dudes. Carson Tenney went off. Mendoza went off. A-Rod went off. Your thoughts on what Texas did over the weekend against Ole Miss?
Texas just solidified for me again just who they are as a team. Even I've been so high on Ruger, right? And Ole Miss got to him even in the 5th inning and got him out of the game. They win on Friday night, and Texas still finds a way to win on Saturday and Sunday. It's like Luke Harrison has been struggling, but then comes out and doesn't walk a guy. It's like it's just the craziest shit, right? But that's why I think Texas is who they are, is they have a really solid coaching staff that knows the key things that they need to do each weekend, to put them in a position to win series. And so tip of the cap to Luke Harrison for bouncing back on Saturday and giving them that start that they need. And then to your point, like 11 punchies and having Dylan Volantis on Sunday, like go 7, that's just like Ole Miss probably wakes up like, all right, we can go win a series. And then you got Dylan Volantis on the mound doing that shit. It's like, do you have a chance? I don't know. So I love Texas's team. Again, I'll keep screaming it from the mountaintops. I think they got 5 true big leaguers in that lineup. So I'm raving about the pitchers and Max Wiener being the best, pitching coach in the country. But I think they have 5 big leaguers in their lineup too. So again, this team is scary good. And again, I've been high on Ole Miss. I really like Ole Miss's team, and Texas took care of business. Now, obviously, I'm a little concerned with Townsend. I don't know if you heard anything, but he only pitched 1 inning, and I don't know what the news is. But
yeah.
That
was a significant development in this series, no doubt. You lose a guy like that. Yeah, hopefully it's nothing long term because I think he had given up 1 run in like 18 2/3 innings pitched or something like that.
Oh yeah, it was stupid.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then he goes out obviously super, super early in that game.
No news yet in the chat, they say. So
yeah. Hopefully it's nothing serious because certainly if Ole Miss is going to have the kind of season they want to have or make a run, they're going to need him. Yeah. Want to highlight Sam Cozart was really good for Texas as well, coming out of the bullpen. Got his first career save, locked it down in the final 3 innings, 1 earned run, had 5 strikeouts, struck out 5 of the last 8 Ole Miss hitters he faced. Carson Tenney and Casey Borba, 2-run homers apiece in the Sunday game. Like I mentioned, again, I think this Ole Miss team, the recipe is going to be pretty clear for them. They need to get Cade Townsend back. But they've got to win their starts when Hunter Elliott's on the bump, and then you kind of figure it out from there and piece it together. They've got a good enough lineup, I think, to give people some headaches and some problems. You saw that obviously play out on Friday. But I think what really showed through to Anthony, the depth of Texas. Just, again, you got them on Friday, great, but if you beat them, you're going to have to really beat them and finish it off. And obviously, again, their depth shines through when you've got guys like a Harrison and a Volantis going Saturday, Sunday, and just holding down that lineup. And again, not that Ole Miss did it Friday, but holding down that lineup throughout an entire weekend is going to be really, really tough. I'm trying to be cautious and choosy with my words because the last time I said this about a team, they went to complete shit, a.k.a. the LSU Tigers. So I don't want to put any jinxes or any hexes on the Texas Longhorns. But no, great weekend in Austin for Texas. I think, obviously, like you said, Anthony, they just solidify what we already thought about them to this point. Speaking of the LSU Tigers, let's go to the series that took place in Nashville as Vandy takes 2 of 3 from LSU. It might have been, heck, take your pick, but one of the games of the weekend that took place on Friday, a wacky ball game. You're thinking to yourself, okay, it's Vandy, it's LSU's pitching staff ready to go. We're going to get this low-scoring game. Hell no. This thing was all over the place, back and forth. It looks like Vandy's got it 1, then LSU's got it 1, then Vandy's got it 1, then LSU's got it 1. Then Vandy hits the big walk-off on Friday night to get the weekend going in Nashville. They brought the belt out Saturday. There ain't no other way to put it. They brought the belt out, and put belt to ass and took down LSU to secure the series. But LSU bounces back, wins the Sunday game. But again, 2 out of 3 for the Doors, Anthony. You saw the power surge for Vandy continue. Jason Esposito, I sent you the video, him on the iPad. He's kind of like the mad scientist these days, channeling whatever he's got to with that Vandy lineup. It was another here's the thing. You and I Friday were kind of zooming in on the, hey, let's have the Case and Evans conversation. Yeah. Now I'm kind of like I want to zoom out because it's so many other problems that aren't him. Like, it's almost unfair to zoom in on like one guy and be like, if we change this one thing, it'll be fixed. Good news for LSU. Jake Brown is still just, I mean, this dude is tearing the cover off of the baseball. The big storyline here, Anthony, I think should probably be more so what Vanderbilt did. But because it's LSU, obviously, everybody wants to spend time in discussing LSU and their quote-unquote downfall or their struggles, I should just say, to this point. Let's lock in on Vandy, though, for just a moment and give them their flowers. Thoughts on what Vanderbilt did over the weekend? I continue to be impressed by the power. I mean, the fact this lineup has just completely flipped. They only hit like 60 home runs last year, Anthony. I don't know exactly where they're at right now, but they got to be around like halfway.
They had 45 going into the weekend.
Okay. And I think they hit like 9 more. So
they're creeping up on last year's total.
Yeah, they're well going to eclipse what they did last year. That was this was a big time bounce back and statement from Vandy. They desperately needed this series win.
I think we very clearly see where Vanderbilt's offense is, and Jason Esposito has turned that offense around. That is for sure, because I think LSU's strength coming into this weekend was the starting rotation, right? We talked about their team ERA being the worst in the league, but it really wasn't from the starters. Case and Evan had kind of a high ERA, but it was a lot of bad luck shit too. But William Schmidt had a really nice ERA coming into this weekend, and so did Cooper Moore, I think right around a 3, right? So Cooper Moore gave up a few hits this weekend. William gave up a few runs. I thought William looked really good, but Kaysen obviously struggled too. But really, Vanderbilt swung the bats, man. Like, they are just a good offensive team. They move their fences in, and Esposito has them obviously with the right approach and seeing the ball well. But yeah, LSU, to me, I think like we said, we have to have the conversation about Case and Evans. I was on a Lafayette radio show this morning, and I kind of gave my 2 cents. And these are just my thoughts. I'm not a college coach. But if I were Jay or Nate, I would probably grab Kaysen and say, hey, you see what's going on. There's something going on. There's something contagious within the system, and it's flawed right now, right? I don't think that determines who you are as a professional baseball player. But right now we need to make a move from Friday night. You have all the choice, whether you want to still be a starter or if you want to go back to a reliever. I think you could be our shutdown reliever at the end of games right now, and have Gavin Guidry be our setup guy. And then we have a really nice 1-2 punch with William Schmidt and Cooper Moore, and a nice back end with Gavin Guidry and Kaysen Evans. And that changes the mindset of the team a little bit and the culture in the locker room, right? And the boys don't feel like they got to bang 9 runs a game, and maybe they could score 4 or 5 and feel comfortable, right? So to me, those are the little things that I think Jay's got to tinker with, and just have those kind of conversations within his staff and his team and that kind of stuff. But those are just my 2 cents. I'm not a coach or whatever, but that's kind of like what I think LSU and the diagnosis is for right now.
Here's the thing, Anthony. We talked about it going in the weekend. Whoever loses this series is maybe not going to be hitting the panic button, but their hand's going to be hovering over it. And certainly after Saturday night, when LSU lost that game and lost the series, you go to the timeline and you could very well see that the fan base was not handling it well. And I don't think it's a panic move, but like we've talked about before, the season's not as long as you think it is. I think if you're and I'm not sitting here trying to tell Jay what he should do, right? Like, he knows he shit out more baseball than I'll ever know. I will give him all the credit in the world in that front. But doesn't it feel like, you just mentioned it, like you kind of have to shake things up a little bit? Like, I don't think you can just keep trotting out the same of everything and be like, we'll just power through it. Like, the schedule's going to get no easier. Like, exactly. LSU does have a difficult schedule. you hate to like reinvent the wheel after one SEC weekend, but it does feel like and Jay's a master tinkerer now. I'd fully expect him to tinker, but I'll be very curious what buttons he pushes after this, because I think there has to be some buttons pushed.
Yeah. And you saw him after the interview, after the game, he was like, look, my message to the team was just go out and find a way to win a game, right? Like we're still a good team. It matters to everybody, but he was also quoted saying, it doesn't matter what it takes. It could be personnel. It could be little things. It could be anything, but we're going to make some changes, within the organization. So there will be some changes. I don't know what that is, and again, whenever you change the Friday night starter, it is a little bit of a jarring thing, but also Kayson's a sophomore, right? So it's not his draft year. It's not this like definitive, like, oh, you're taking a junior away from his Friday night start and there's a narrative there. It's like, hey, this might be the best for the team. And Kayson, you were pretty electric as a reliever last year, like in that hybrid role, and I'm sure there's going to be some big games down the stretch that you'll start just like you did last year. So again, I think there's a huge role for Kayson Evans. He's a big league pitcher. It's just a matter of what role is that for him on this team this year,
Again, going to be really interesting. That really quickly, Anthony, that Friday game, just to give folks an idea of how crazy that was. Again, 13-12 is the final. LSU scored 5 in the top of the 8th to take the lead. Vandy then scores 3 in the bottom of the 9th, including Logan Johnstone's walk-off homer. There were 35 runs scored in that game, 23 total hits. There were 21 walks. This is all combined, of course. 28 strikeouts and 21 men left on base.
Jesus.
I mean, it was for a Friday game in the SEC, a Friday game, I might add. So,
wow. I just saw that you can't change the rotation this week. So LSU plays on Thursday this week?
That I don't know.
I don't know, because I'm going into Baton Rouge this week. I thought they played Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I don't know. I could be wrong. I could check, but I'll check.
If that is the case,
that could be interesting.
I was today years old when I learned that. I don't want to. Oh yeah, no, it is. It is Thursday through Saturday. Well, I can't believe we're already starting these.
Why do they do that?
Saturday. Yeah, we've got 2 series. LSU, OU, and Ole Miss, Kentucky, Thursday through Saturday.
I hate that. I don't know why they do that. Why do we do that?
That is, I will tell you though, he does make a good point. I mean, you're certainly not going to bump William Schmidt to Thursday,
especially after leaving the game with a tight back too. Like that's unless that was part of the strategy to be like, hey, let's keep him at 4 innings to make sure that he can bounce back for Thursday. I don't know. So what would it be? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? That would be 3 days rest. It's kind of early to do that shit. Yeah.
By the way, I want to highlight our guy Chinook is finally in here. He says, old boy on the right's never seen a Super Bowl hat he didn't love. You big Super Bowl hat guy, Anthony? You like
this is a Super Bowl hat. My girlfriend covered the Super Bowl, so she brought it back for me as a little souvenir,
He's just a hater, man. It is.
He is a hater. He showed up late today, so yeah. He's just getting in here.
Talk about being late. Dude's almost an hour late. Talking about somebody's hat. Come on, man. Either way, big series win for Vandy. LSU. Interestingly enough, I'm not hitting the panic button. I do think winning Sunday was a big deal. Again, finding a way to salvage a game on the road, especially when you've lost the first 2, it is a big deal. But you got to bounce back quickly. Oklahoma coming to your place. Anthony, as much as you've praised Oklahoma and as high as you are on them, ain't nobody in Baton Rouge give a damn. You better find a way to come back home and protect Alex Box.
They're going to be hungry too. Them Tiger fans.
They're going to be on edge. They're going to be on edge, no doubt. We'll see if Vandy can build off of it. Last thing on this series, I don't know that I like almost no matter who would have won, but especially with the way it played out, I don't really leave with like, man, Vandy. I don't know that either side really looked great. It felt like a mid-off, if I'm being totally honest. It was like Friday was like, who can choke this game more dramatically? Like
100%.
They were both fighting to like, no, you have it. No, you take it. No, you take it. No, you take it. That's kind of how the series felt. I don't really know that I can draw a conclusion on like, boy, Vandy really showed me they're in a lead or, yeah, I'm with
you. And And I'm disappointed in Vandy's pitching. I thought that was their strength coming into the year too. So like Nate Taylor only going one inning on Sunday has been a concern. They don't have a Sunday starter. Now Wyatt Nadeo, whatever, however you say
Him
his name.
filling in, I thought he did a pretty good job.
I mean, 10 punches against LSU in 7 innings
Yeah.
is pretty strong as a true freshman, right? So, I mean, that's been a nice development, but Fennell hasn't been electric on Friday, so
No.
we'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
All right, Anthony, let's keep it moving. Let's go to the series that took place. Now we're getting into the sweeps. Lexington, Kentucky, as Kentucky sweeps Alabama. I've said it before and I'll say it again. There probably isn't a team in the SEC that plays more to their identity and who they are than the Kentucky Wildcats. Nick Mingione just continues, man, to spit them out. Really good ball clubs. Starting pitching was a little bit of an issue, Anthony, for Alabama. Tyler Fay and Zane Adams both struggled a bit, especially Tyler Fay on Friday. Ben Cleaver, for whatever reason, this dude continues to just have these really inexplicably short outings for them. I think he went 2/3 innings pitched in game 2.
What is going on?
Yeah. Either way, Kentucky finds a way. Nate Harris tossed 6 no-hit innings in that final game. Again, they win that game 6-4 to clinch the series sweep. Again, like we talked about, it's the sweeps that throw your season one way or another. This is a big statement weekend for Kentucky, Anthony.
Yeah, and it was a really weird weekend for me because these were 2 teams that I picked higher than most people did, and I was higher on. So it was a really tough one for me to pick. Obviously, I went with Alabama. And obviously I was wrong. I think you've been very right about the starting rotation, and I've given them more benefit of the doubt. And it's time to kind of call that what it is, and I think that the starting rotation has disappointed me for Bama a little bit. The stuff is all there. It just seems like they can't put it together and have successful, 6-7 inning starts. But I also tipped the cap to Kentucky. This is the team that I said I think could win 20 games in the SEC this year. And I think it was it was because of weekends like this that I think they can sneak out sweeps instead of traditional 2-1 games against teams like that, like Alabama, where it's a veteran team. They steal bags, they put the ball in play. They have scrappy at bats against quality starters that just wear you down, and that's what they did this weekend. And to your point, without even Ben Cleaver pitching more than like 3 innings, I don't know what this kid's deal is, but Jelkin did okay on Friday, struggled a little bit, but still made it through almost 6 innings. And Harris has been pretty solid overall, except for one bad start this year on Sunday. So I love this Kentucky team. I really do. And I think they have a closer too that's already got 4 or 5 saves maybe, or has some pretty good numbers out of the pen. But I'm interested. Their bullpen is going to be the biggest development for me for Kentucky to see if they can contend at the top of the league. Because that'll be the biggest, telltale throughout the season for me.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about Alabama, if I'm being totally honest, Anthony. I feel like that's a lineup that outside of LeBron and Bryce Fowler does some nice things here and there. He had 2 RBI in the Sunday game, but they just don't have a lot of guys, I feel like, in that lineup that really scare you. And if you're not getting good outings out of Tyler Fay and Zane Adams, you're then asking a freshman in Miles Upchurch, who is extremely talented, but you're asking him to go out there and kind of salvage the weekend. And it just, that's a pretty tough spot to put a freshman in. Tyler Bell, by the way, want to highlight for Kentucky, the Sunday game. He does DH for them, went 2 for 4, had 2 RBI in that ball game. Like you mentioned, it's a scrappy, gritty team, as we know, with Nick Mingione's clubs. Highlighting on Saturday as well, bunch of different dudes that contributed. Hudson Brown for Kentucky with 4 RBI. Luke Lawrence had 2 RBI. Tyler Bell didn't even play in that game on Saturday.
Yeah, I saw that. I was wondering if that's a rest thing. Yeah, after the injury.
Yeah, I'd have to imagine. I mean, obviously we're just guessing here, but I'd have to imagine it's a coming back from the injury. Don't want to ask him to do too much. So yeah, he didn't play Friday or Saturday in this series, by the way. So
I know I was wondering that. And
again, they're winning without him. They're winning without him, which is really, really impressive. You mentioned Jackson Jelkin, 5 1/3, 6 hits, 4 earned, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. So not his best necessarily, but again, when you get to the Alabama starter, Tyler Fay, 7 innings. He did go 7 innings, but he gives up 8 hits, 7 runs, 6 earned, a walk, and 8 strikeouts. So they got to get better outings out of those top 2 guys. And if they can't, it's going to continue to be a very, very long season for them. So God forbid when Ben Cleaver starts actually getting deep into some games. I mean, my goodness.
I know. I want to find out what's going on there. We got to figure that out because, I mean, he's got the swing and miss shit. Like, he's still getting the strikeouts. It's just he's not – I don't know. It's interesting. So, I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah. Big one for Kentucky as they sweep Alabama. Heading over to Como. Silly me. This was just this was a silly pick. This is a silly pick in hindsight. Auburn sweeps the Missouri Tigers. Welcome back to earth, Mizzou. You had a great run of 13 straight wins, but we're in SEC play now. So welcome back. Welcome back. And I can't imagine a worse team to run into than Auburn, Anthony. What they are doing on the mound, specifically from their starters, is crazy. It's actually insane. Auburn starting pitchers, this includes the midweek, by the way, but Auburn starting pitchers last week, so 4 games, 26 and 2/3 innings pitched with a 0.67 ERA.
Oh my God.
That's the starters. All 3 of their starters against Mizzou went 7+ innings. All 3 of them. That, my friend, that's a pitching coach's dream.
Hey, the bullpen is big chilling each weekend. They are just happy
relaxing.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, it's Marciano that's obviously leading the way on Fridays, but the rest of that starting rotation continues to be electric, man. I mean, this Auburn team, I know it again. People will write it off and say it was Mizzou, but boy, they look, especially on when you're able to pitch the baseball like that, boy, you are really, really dangerous.
Yeah, I like Auburn's team and their pitching is friggin' ridiculous. But I do think that we have to tip our cap to Mizzou a little bit. I do actually think they are better than we joked about earlier this year. They are a better baseball team, 100%. I watched a lot of Marciano start. I watched a decent amount of Sanders start, and I watched a good amount of Petrovic's start as well. These guys are pretty legit for Mizzou, and their pitchers are legit as well too. So the kid that pitched on Saturday, McDevitt, he's got some like legit shit. 90 to 94, little slinger, has a good vertical angle approach, which means like he's kind of like he's kind of like Fennel, where it's like that, like sidearm, but the ball kind of rises up, and he's got good breaking balls and a really nasty changeup off of it. The Pimentel kid on Fridays got some, like, he'll throw strikes and keep you in the games. And then on Sunday, the Kellenbrecht guy, he's got swing and miss stuff, not overpowering, but he's mixing up pitches. So I was more impressed with Mizzou than I thought, but I think, again, we just got to come back to Auburn. They're as legit as they come. I think they're a top 5 team right now. And the way that you pitch it like that, I mean, that's why I gave so much love to Mizzou, because I don't want to take anything away from Auburn, how good their guys are. Sanders throws something at you that is like literally looks like Madison Bumgarner. Petrovic is a high-profile kid from Texas. And then Marciano, I don't know. He's just trick fucking guys out there. Like, he was 88 to 90 this weekend, like less stuff than he's been all year. And he's still getting swings and misses and everything. So, again, these guys know how to pitch. They're getting guys out. And I just like Auburn's rotation. I really do.
And Jake Marciano, I want to highlight this too, Anthony. He probably goes CG if not for a lighting delay. Not a lightning delay.
Yes.
A lighting delay.
Light.
At Mizzou. Can we figure out?
We were talking about it on the show. I was like, why the hell isn't Missouri playing right now? What's going on? Yeah, it was when we were on our show. Can we
figure out the lights situation? Because he only threw 82 pitches. I mean,
that's how they got him out of the game. Mizzou did some crazy shit. They were like, we got to get this guy out of the game.
Like, we got to knock him out. Yeah. 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. By the way, that was a career high, 7 scoreless innings with 7 Ks. His second straight scoreless outing, 3rd of the season. So
his strikeout to walk ratio is something like 21 to like or like it's 21. It's something ridiculous. Like it's so stupid.
Yeah, absolutely nuts. The pitching staff as a whole, by the way, 1.29 ERA last week in those 4 games, 5 earned runs in 35 innings pitched. the 2-0 shutout in the opener at Mizzou marked the first SEC road shutout since also shutting out Mizzou 3-0 on May 21st, 2021.
Nice. I'm gonna try to look up.
Yeah. Starting pitchers
have
now pitched five or this right here is key. Starting pitchers have now pitched 5 or more innings in 16 of the 19 games this season. So,
oh my God,
their starters are doing their job.
Yeah. Jake Marciano has a 21 strikeout to walk ratio.
Yeah, that's getting the job done. Auburn enters the week ranked in the top 10 in the country in strikeout to walk ratio, 5 points. They are number 1 in the country. Walks allowed per 9 innings, 2.06. They're first in the country. ERA, 2.33. They're second in the country. WHIP, 0.97. They're second in the country. Hits allowed per 9 innings, 6.67. They're 9th in the country. Shutouts, 3. They're 9th in the country. Strikeouts per 9, 11.9. They're 10th in the country. Need I say more? The pitching staff is.
I'm just looking at all the pitching stats. Like all their guys are in the top 10. Their 3 starters are in all the top 10 of everything.
Yeah, I'll tell you this, Anthony. This Auburn team looks every bit like a team that can win the league. Really, truly. I don't think that's an overreaction. I know it was at Mizzou, but I don't care. They've done this all season. When you got a great pitching beats great hitting, they've got the pitching to, I think, beat anybody. All right, Final series, Anthony. Let's go to Gainesville, the final sweep. Florida does sweep South Carolina. Gator pitching absolutely dominated throughout the weekend. This one had its own dramatics too, right? Florida was getting no hit going into, I believe, the 9th inning. They finally get on the board. They win that game in extra innings. The pulmonary quotes continue to just out themselves like it's nobody's business. I don't know how we get so fortunate to get some of these quotes we get. But the focus is on Florida. I thought it was telling. Kevin O'Sullivan came out and said that was the best he's seen Liam Peterson in his Florida career. And, I mean, he absolutely shoved, obviously, in that Friday game. Gators win that one. They win another tight one on Saturday. So South Carolina was in this series throughout the weekend. Sunday, finally, it fell apart for the Gamecocks. Brendan Lawson with the big home run, had the pimp job. Both sides warm. People ask him, why didn't he get ejected? Whatever. Either way, Florida pulls away. They win big. They 10-run rule them in 7 to get the sweep. Anthony, very, dare I say, very ho-hum thoughts on Florida. I mean, listen, I know Friday and Saturday were close, but it's like you and I talked Friday. Listen, hey, there's a team in Baton Rouge, for example, that would have loved to had an ugly win on Friday instead of the loss the way they did.
It doesn't matter.
You take them how you can get them in the SEC, and when you get a sweep, don't matter how it happened, you go home happy.
Absolutely. And it was like Florida, if they didn't sweep South Carolina, I think we talked about it on Thursday, would be a disappointment the way that South Carolina is playing right now. And Florida starting off 1-11 last year, right? That 3-0 start is huge for them this year. And the most encouraging thing to your point is winning games in close games that even where you shouldn't have been in those games, right? That matters when you have a little bit of a tight asshole and you're like, damn, we shouldn't be 0-0 in the 9th and we're getting no hit, and you find a way to win that game. I think that's a huge sign for that team. Also, to Kevin O'Sullivan's point, I am having a hard time looking at my rankings right now that will be coming out in an hour or two. I'm having a hard time not putting Liam Peterson number 1 on my power rankings in the SEC because he is throwing the ball like stuff-wise just so much better than anybody. You watch him pitch, and it's 97-99 with a fastball that is just blazing through the zone, and then that curveball, slider, changeup. He's throwing 4+ pitches, and he's 6'5", whatever he is, just big donkey boy, like. So, and he's carrying himself well. Like, he's throwing strikes. He didn't walk his 2 guys until the last inning, last game. Like, he's trending in all the right directions, looking like a top 15 pick in the draft. So, to me, I think Florida's firing on all cylinders. And then, oh, by the way, their Saturday starters leading the SEC and hasn't given up an earned run this year, So it's, I like their stuff. And then every guy that they have coming out of the pen is throwing 100, right? So, I mean, all the stuff is there. The talent is there. I have Florida in my top 15 in the country right now. That, like, when I think of a top 25. So I like Florida's team. I really do. And it was a huge sweep this weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, it obviously starts with the power arms when it comes to the Gators. That's just how these Kevin O'Sullivan teams Our Wired, I agree with you. Aiden King looks awesome. I mean, he is that one. We talked about it, that 1-2 punch. I mean, listen, now,
Yep.
like in Auburn's we got to say for sure with the way they're pitching, but that Liam Peterson, Aiden King 1-2 punch, boy, that's as good as it's going to get in college baseball. And Cooper Walls has held his own and held the rope, I think, on Sundays as well. So, listen, it's not going to spend tons of time on it. Brendan Lawson continues to be a beast. I thought Cash Strayer had a pretty solid weekend. It was a series that you really needed to sweep. I think with the way South Carolina's playing, when you get the opportunities to sweep, like I said, it throws your season as such a positive. And we're talking about a Florida Gators team that last year started 1-11 in conference play. It doesn't look like you're going to have to dig yourself out of that kind of hole, certainly, because you sit here at 3-0. So
Right.
great start for the Gators in conference play. I'm still obviously really high on Florida. I thought the High Point weekend was just more of a one-off than anything, and certainly I think it proved to be the case over the weekend. Really quickly on the South Carolina side, Anthony, get this. South Carolina, and I sent you this already, but for those who didn't see this, South Carolina baseball under Paul Mainieri is now 7-34 against power conference competition. They are 6-28 versus the SEC. They have not won a Sunday game against a Power 4 opponent since he took the job last year. And I can tell you this, Anthony, from the friends that I have and just taking a quick glimpse on the timeline, the worst thing that I think people can be is apathetic. South Carolina folks have checked out on this baseball program. I think they are just completely out. There is I don't know if there's anybody left in Paul Mainieri's corner when it comes to defending him being the head coach at South Carolina. So I don't think any midseason changes will happen. You don't really see that in baseball anyways, but yeah, it's unfortunately I think South Carolina is – I think the only question is the race between them and Missouri of who's going to finish last. I think that's the only question.
Yeah, I do too. And like I said, I kind of like Missouri's rotation. I think they're in a much better position. Although, what's his name? Gunther looked really, really good the other night. So but again, I think that's their really only arm in there right now, so I don't know. We'll see. Ant Phillips is okay, but he's hit or miss. So yeah, I think Mizzou, I think South Carolina is gonna hold up the bottom.
And it's really the hitting that is just
Chris, I can't even name that's what I'm saying is they have that kid that's got the hard name to say, and then other than that, I don't know who's in their lineup. I really don't.
Yeah, they've got I wanted to pull this up because I saw a stat on the hitting. I don't know if I can find this or not. The maddening quote though was, you talked about this on Friday night. Bases loaded, 3-0 count, and you give a guy a green light to swing.
Yeah.
It's just
So those are the things and again, I love Paul Mainieri, and I think that's what he was good at when he was in his prime, was knowing the right buttons to call, right? Knowing those right situations to let a hitter go 3-0. That wasn't it. I'm telling you, I was watching the game I love Paul, and I would sit there and tell it to his face. I didn't think that was the right time to do that. That pitcher was struggling with his command, and he should have made him throw 2 strikes, in my opinion. Just my opinion.
I would agree. Through 2 games, I know obviously there was a third, but through 2 games, South Carolina was a combined 4 for 64, .063 batting average with 26 strikeouts, 0 for 23 with runners on base, 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position, and 0 for 19 with 2 outs.
So, yeah, what Florida did on Friday and Saturday to them on the mound was downright disrespectful.
Yeah. Again, Florida looks really good. Pitching staff leading the way. Gators are rocking and rolling, getting SEC play underway. All right. Conference play number 1, officially in the books, Anthony. Really good stuff. We're going to talk really briefly about the midweek, and then we're going to get in this top 25 before we get out of here, guys. Really quickly, before we do, I do want to tell you about our friends over at Underdog. Guys, the tournament is back. The upsets are inevitable. Underdog is the best place to get in on all the action. Playing on Underdog super easy. Just pick whether your favorite players are going to go higher or lower on stats like points, rebounds, steals, and more. If you get your picks right, going to 5,000 times your cash. Of course, guys, we're going to be throwing out picks each and every single day of March Madness. Heck, starting tomorrow, because tomorrow night we've got Texas in the first 4 game taking on NC State. It's going to be a ton of fun. Make sure you download the app today. Use promo code SECU to score $50 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code SECU. Underdog, make picks, win money. Must be 18 and up, 19 up in Alabama, Nebraska, 19 up in Colorado for some games, 21 up in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. If you're concerned with your play, call 1-800-MY-RESET or 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. And in New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. All right, Anthony, let's get into the midweek slate because as we always do, we do indeed take a look at the midweek slate. And we've got some fun matchups. We've got some fun showdowns. By the way, guys, make sure you're checking to see what the weather does because I know a lot of these games are getting moved up or getting delayed or what have you. So if I mention a game that's been changed or no longer being played, God forbid, please don't bite my head off. It's just the schedule that we have. Looking at the Tuesday slate, Kentucky, Marshall, Georgia, Citadel, Arkansas, Northern Colorado, Tennessee, Eastern Kentucky, Florida, Stetson, South Carolina, Charlotte. This is a good one here, Anthony. I believe this is one that actually got moved up to 4 o'clock.
Whoa.
Auburn, Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
On a Tuesday night.
That's
How
fun.
about that? 2 top 10 teams going at it.
That.
I believe maybe even top 5 teams going at it down in the plains. Mizzou at Kansas. Little rivalry
That's a tough
action.
one. Kansas is a good squad.
Kansas is a very good Big 12 team. Mississippi State, Jackson State, Oklahoma at Southeastern Louisiana. How about that? Oklahoma goes to Southeastern and Hammond, interestingly enough. Vandy, Indiana, LSU, Grambling State, Ole Miss, Austin Peay, Alabama at South Alabama, Texas, Tarleton State, and Texas A&M versus Texas State. Those in-state matchups with Texas schools are always fun. Then Wednesday, Anthony, we've got 2 games. Arkansas, Northern Colorado, Kentucky, Marshall. Anything jump out to you from the midweek slate?
Is South Carolina the favorite at home against Charlotte?
Hey, that's a good point because Charlotte's a good team out of the American.
I know. That's what I'm like, we're talking about upsets, and I'm like, is that an upset? I don't know. And Missouri on the road at Kansas? I don't know. I might take Kansas. So, I don't know.
Yeah. That might be the right pick. By the way, it's 3 versus 5 at Plains Park, Georgia Tech, Auburn. I think that is definitely – that's got a super regional feel to it. So I know it's a Tuesday night. Really obviously, cool. We won't see like the aces from each squad. But if you recall last year, these games were really entertaining when Auburn and Georgia Tech played each other. So that's definitely one to keep an eye on. Going to be a really, really fun showdown.
Don't sleep on Marshall visiting Kentucky, too, on Wednesday. That might be a sneaky one.
Yeah. Hey, that's a Tuesday, Wednesday. That's
Tuesday and Wednesday. Wow.
That's a back-to-back. Yeah, that's a back-to-back. Vandy, Indiana. I think Vandy shouldn't have any problem. I might try to slide out to that one if the weather's decent.
That would be a good midweek game, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a fun one. Yeah. Be a fun one. Outside of that, I'm sure we'll get some madness, but I think the SEC should be able to hold their own and
South Alabama looks okay, but Alabama on the road. That'll be a good game. Alabama likes to lose midweek games too.
They do. Oklahoma at Southeastern. Interesting. Southeastern, from what I've been told, has got a hell of a pitching staff. So
yeah, that'll be a good game.
Yeah, we'll see how that one goes. All right, Anthony, final thing before we get out of here. The D1 Baseball Top 25 did drop. So let's take a look at the top 25. 10 SEC teams are ranked. Texas at number 2, Arkansas 4, Auburn 5, Mississippi State 6, Oklahoma at 8. You then jump to Kentucky at 15, Florida at 18, Tennessee 22, Texas A&M 23. The number 1 team in the country, of course, is still UCLA. I believe Louisiana sneaks into the top 25. They are at 25th. Anything else jump out to you from this top 25, or what jumps out? Most notably, the omission, LSU falls out of the top 25. I mean, Anthony, I think it's well-deserved. I mean, I think –
Me too. I don't think they're a top 25 team.
right now. And I think
Yeah.
that was the thing. There were a lot of LSU fans that got upset with me over the weekend when I said LSU's not a good baseball team right now. Right now is the key emphasis there. It doesn't mean that next weekend they couldn't be a really good baseball team, but as of right now, the way they are playing, and I think they'd tell you this, Jay would tell you this, they're just not playing like a good baseball team. It is what it is. I think them not being in the top 25 is very well deserved. Any other thoughts? Your thoughts on this top 25?
The only thing I think I would have had Ole Miss in there. I think they're a top 25 team right now. I think they had they showed well this weekend at Texas. I think that team is just that good. I really do. And but again, I think they showed well. So I think Ole Miss could be snuck in there, maybe over Wake Forest after Wake Forest showing this weekend. But again, splitting hairs. But other than that, I think it's pretty solid. I have OU over Georgia right now, but that's just me, and maybe over Mississippi State, but again, it's still very early for me.
Yeah, I think it's early as well. I mean, again, I don't really have major issues. I know there was one poll out there that didn't have Texas A&M as a top 25 team. I think that's a bit crazy.
Me too. I think they're definitely a top 25 team. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Auburn top 5 is very well deserved. I'm glad Mississippi State didn't take a major. I think they moved down a spot. I think that's the right move there. Don't punish them all that much for losing 2 or 3 at Ball and Walker. Yeah, outside of that, I mean, I think the top 25 is pretty on point. I mean, there will be people that lose their minds over it. I think it's pretty solid for what we've got this week. So 10 SEC teams being represented in the latest top 25. Anthony, before we get out of here really quickly, let's take a few questions. I know we got a lot of folks that have chimed in with their questions, with their comments. Gunner says, in one poll, Arkansas State is ranked after winning the series against Southern Miss, who was ranked at one time. I did see that.
Yeah.
Arkansas State.
I like Arkansas State. I really do. I think that's I like that.
Yeah. Texas Rock says, I would dog LSU, but Anthony is a good dude, so I'm going to give them a break.
Hey, I'm here for it. If LSU deserves to get dogged, then hey, that's part of it. And that's part of it. I love my boys, but it's about accountability and responsibility.
Texas Rocks, by the way, he is convinced I'm an LSU fan. He's convinced. Sorry about my Baton Rouge boys. Thank you for the condolences there. Thank you for the condolences. Really do appreciate it. Let's see. Tied to Texas. Got a hit with runners on. Left on base totals through Sunday. Alabama 188, LSU 170, Vandy 164, Mizzou and Kentucky at 161, and then down the list it goes. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's baseball's it had a lot, the more that changes, the more that stay the same. You got to hit with runners in scoring position and hit with 2 outs. And if you're not doing that at a high rate, you are going to suffer. That's just the bottom line. You got to capitalize on your opportunities. So Jay Sully says Florida's pitching was lights out all weekend. Peterson's looking like a legit top 5 pick right now. He is.
Yep.
He really is.
He's looking all the parts of it. Like, I don't know who I would take higher than him in the SEC right now.
Yeah. We did have an update, by the way, Anthony, from our guy Sandman. Jonah Williams out for the season with a shoulder injury. This is one that I know Texas baseball and football fans have got their eye on because he does play football as well. I'd have to imagine, Anthony, with the way college football is now, and I know he's a two-sport guy. If it's anything even remotely like they're going to probably just hold him out. It's like one of those I'd imagine there's a lot of money tied up in him on the football side where it's like, hey, like he ain't playing through nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, no, exactly.
Unfortunate to say the least. He's a spark plug. He's a hell of an athlete, hell of a player. But if there's anybody who's got the depth to withstand it, it is Texas.
I was just going to say, I think they'll be all right without him. They'll be fine.
Yeah. They've got the depth to withstand it. TGH says Mizzou is better, but they are still only a 6 to 8 win team in the SEC. At least they have USC Junior as the shittiest team in the league. So the Tigers don't finish last. Here's the thing. If they go from 3 SEC wins last year to 8 this year, that's a hell of an improvement.
Yeah. 8 or 9 wins is almost tripling your win total from the year before. Absolutely. That's pretty strong. And again, that's where I think they'll be. I think they'll be an 8 or 9 team, win team, something like that. They'll probably win the 3 games against South Carolina if they're playing them and mix in some other ones. but we'll see.
Yeah, no, it's.
I really like McDevitt, actually, their Saturday guy. I really like his stuff. Like he's a few clicks away from being a legit prospect for real. Like he's got some electric stuff.
Who knows? Maybe Mizzou can get hot. God forbid, could they reach double-digit SEC wins? Could it happen?
Crazy.
Could it happen? TGH also says UK's offense is super underrated. The lineup's been getting hot the last couple weeks. Berkeley Bounds out of the pen has been really good for the Cats. Yeah, I mean, Kentucky's just perpetually underrated. They're a very good team.
Yep.
It's a very, very good team. They look every bit like a regional host. Who knows? Maybe they could fight their way into a top 8 national seed. You never know.
I can see it.
Tied to Texas. Auburn allowed just 7 runs in the last 7 games. 1 in a sweep of Winthrop, 2 to UAB, 4 in a sweep of Mizzou to open SEC play. Tigers are on a 10-game win streak. Last loss was February 27th to Nebraska, and they won that series, by the way. So, yeah, yep. Auburn is Auburn's red hot. All vibes are high. All vibes are high in the Plains. Chinook, great point. Who wins the World Baseball Classic? What a game last night, by the way.
Wow.
Shout out to the USA.
That was so good.
Your boy Paul Skeens repping LSU got to start, looked every bit like Paul Skeens. How about the kid? His name escapes me. The closer last night. I didn't know this. He pitched at Gardner Webb.
Yeah, I didn't know
Gardner
that.
Webb. This kid is out there pumping
Mason
102. Who is the semifinal tonight to play in the championship? Do you know?
Yeah, it's Italy and Venezuela. Yeah.
Okay.
Italy
we want another shot at Italy. I think we want another shot at Italy.
Italy is on this little kick right now. They're doing the espresso shots on the home runs, the double cheek kisses. It's unbelievable. I'm here for it, baby. The Paisans. My Paisans.
What team would you have played for if you played?
It was Italy. I almost played for Team Italy a couple of years ago. Yeah, I was there was I had some paperwork getting sent over there and I couldn't get it in. No, this was actually like 6 years ago. So, but yeah, like it would have been Italy. I had a great grandfather my great grandfather and grandmother were born over there.
The World Baseball Classic's interesting because you find out a lot about people. You're like, oh, it's like a 23andMe test. You're like,
exactly. Yeah. Like Austin Wells is on the Dominican team. He's their catcher.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I mean, who knew? I will say this, by the way, who wins the World Baseball Classic? Obviously, I hope it's the United States. This gives me an opportunity to say this, though, too, Anthony. I don't know where we have gotten lost in baseball on this. I don't know if this ABS, the strike zone being on TV, which I got to be honest with you, Anthony, hot take. I could live without the strike zone box on television.
Me too.
Because I think it makes people like – the strike zone is not this like defined square. It's I know that sounds crazy. Here's what I think is even crazier with this ABS thing. I saw John Boy do a breakdown of this. I don't know if you've seen this, but like the way they calculate the strike zone, it's a certain percentage of your height. And like it's this weird thing. But essentially, Anthony, and you correct me if you think I'm wrong here, if I'm off my rocker. What the strike zone that I'm seeing, the square, it's going down to the knees, fine. But it's going just above the belt. I'm like, where is the high strike
in
this strike zone? That like I was always taught bottom of the letters to the bottom of the kneecaps. That's the strike zone.
Me too.
And now it's like we're cutting off the strike zone just above the belt.
Which is weird because then
high strike.
Which is weird because now they're rewarding curveballs that are hitting the top of the zone. And it's like, motherfucker, that bitch was on top of the strike zone. It just ended there. So how is it a strike? But then the fastball that goes this way is not a strike. Like I don't understand it. So I'm with you, dude. The strike zone is the biggest like mind fuck to me in the world. And I think it's putting the box there gave every person at home an opinion the same way that the phones did with Twitter, right? Like now everybody can comment on it, and so now I think we've lost what an actual strike is.
That will be a very unpopular take, Anthony, amongst the masses. But again, I could live without the strike zone on TV. I really could. Like maybe it's because like again I know what a strike is.
Yeah, I don't need the zone. Yeah.
But yeah, you're right.
And the worst part about all this shit is it's like, hey, have we forgotten the first rule of baseball? Leave it out of the umpire's hands, motherfucker. Swing the bat. You should have swung at the pitch. Like that was too close.
That's what I was going to get to. That's what I was going to get to. Your thoughts on the final pitch last night of the World Baseball Classic. Like, here's the thing.
It's a
when
ball.
He rung him up, I was like, ooh, damn.
Yeah.
Like, that was a ball.
It's a ball.
But
you have to swing.
Can we remind everyone what the rule of thumb is on 3-2? If it's close, swing. It goes back to the Mississippi State thing. I'm like, dude, if it's 3-2, you got to protect. And I will even give credit to the pitcher. I guarantee you where that crossed is not as low as where that finished. So, like, realistically, where that crossed,
might have been
like
a strike.
Nibbling the bottom of the zone. And,
you got to swing the bat.
I think it was either Jeter or A-Rod or one of them pointed out, hell, they got a scouting report on that umpire that he calls the low strike.
Exactly. And Chris, if that catcher was catching a bullpen and there was no hitter, he was assuming he was going to catch it. So he actually probably caught it deeper. If he went up and caught that ball, he's catching it at the bottom of the strike zone. Like if he extends his hand, you know what I'm saying? So again, that's a 3-2 pitch that he probably assumed the guy was going to swing at. So he caught it a little deeper. And if he catches it and sticks it, I guarantee you it's at the bottom of the strike zone. So it's not a ball in the dirt. That wasn't a good take. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, you swing the bat. That's a borderline strike against the best closer in the game of baseball. You got to at least put a ball to bat to give your team a chance to take out the element of the umpire ringing you up for strike 3. That's it. That's why you do it. Yep.
Yeah, let's educate folks again. If it's 3-2 and it's close, you better swing the damn bat. That's it. That's it. Yeah, that kid last night, though, that closer, electric stuff. He was another one of those guys, though, where I'm like, bro, why do we keep calling slider? Just throw 102 down the fucking middle. Yeah. It's 102 miles an hour. Really like, what are we doing? This dude's spiking sliders, and I'm like,
do that 102 thing. Yeah.
I mean, dude, he threw a 95-mile-an-hour changeup.
Dude, he's so disgusting. It's not fair how he throws a baseball.
I'm like, what?
He throws 93-mile-an-hour slider. I'm like, dude, this is just not real life.
That's one of those dudes, though, that's effectively wild because he's wild enough where I'm like, bro, I'd be scared up there. I'm like, good God, this dude's going to lose one and plunk me for sure. Yep. So either way, though, it'll be a fun game tomorrow night, USA in the finals of the World Baseball Classic. Really good stuff. All right. On that note, Anthony, let's go ahead and close it out. Really fun show. Really fun stuff today. Conference play number 1 officially in the books. We got the midweek slate. Enjoy the midweek. Looking ahead, boy, we have got one hell of a weekend slate upcoming in conference weekend number 2, including 2 series. Who knew? Getting started on Thursday night. So when we come to you next time, it will be game day in the SEC. Always a really good time. Guys, until then, appreciate you all tuning in. As always, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts, all across your favorite social media platforms, as well as our website, seCunfiltered.com. For Anthony Ranaudo, I'm Chris Phillips. This is Glue Guys. We appreciate you all tuning in. As always, enjoy the midweek baseball, and we'll talk to you all on Thursday. Cheers.